Well, it turns out that Donald Trump isn't the only person on the globe who seems to have a problem with seven Muslim countries that are disproportionately beset with Islamic terrorism. Take Ireland, for example. This is an article published in the BelfastTelegraph.co.uk, article by Gordon Deegan and attributed to the Associated Press. And you can see the headline. It says, Republic of Ireland banned 226 people from predominantly Muslim countries that are subject to Donald Trump's travel ban. Now, it's not saying that they banned these people because Donald Trump did, because actually the ban was before Donald Trump was president, if I understand this correctly. The point is that other people are seeing what Donald Trump is seeing. It's not that President Trump is beset with some kind of insane bigotry against a particular group of people. It is that there are a lot of sane people on this planet whose brains aren't twisted and bent by some kind of delusion that there is no such thing as cultural variations, that all people are the same, and who are obsessed with cultural relativity. They get it. These people have a problem with violence, and we're not going to import their violence into our country. Well, sad to say that that is true of Ireland, but only to a very small degree, but it is true. Okay, here's a group of boat people. I'm sure they're coming to Ireland because they want to be probably physicians and rocket scientists would be my guess, and maybe engineers. The story says the Republic of Ireland last year refused entry to 226 individuals from predominantly Muslim countries that are subject to President Donald Trump's executive order banning entry to the U.S. to individuals from those countries. The figures show, we're reading down here, the figures show that last year 53 Somalis were refused leave to land, while 37 from war-torn Syria were also refused leave to land. I would just say refused to land, but they say leave to land, so I don't know what that means. I don't know why you have to say leave to land, but that's what they say. An additional 46 Iranians were refused entry by the Irish Naturalization and Immigration Service, while 26 Iraqis and 47 Sudanese were also refused entry. So they give the numbers and they tally them up, and it comes to 226. But as I said earlier, unfortunately, the number that they did let in is significantly higher than those that they refused entry. Okay, we're going to come back to this photograph in just a second, but first let's go over to this article that was published September 2016. This is the journal.ie. IE is the extension for Ireland. And this says that Ireland is the most welcoming country for Syrian refugees, according to major European study. So according to this, of all the European countries, there is one nation where the people have been efficiently, or I should say sufficiently, brainwashed, where they see no problem accepting Islamic terrorists. Okay, they're not all terrorists, I understand that. That's like saying the Ku Klux Klan is not all racist. Well, you got to admit, if you go back historically, and you look at the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who belong to the Ku Klux Klan, how many of those people actually committed violent crimes or acts of terrorism? The answer is almost none. And those who did commit acts of violence or acts of terror didn't necessarily do so because they were a part of the Klan. It was just coincidental that they were part of the Klan, but they also blew up a set of bomb that went off in a church. The fact that they were Klan members was relative to nothing. They may have also been members of a church themselves. And the same thing is true here. But the point of that is people like to say, we need to give Muslims a pass because they're not all terrorists. Well, if you want to be consistent, then you need to give most Klansmen a pass because they're not terrorists. And you need to give most Nazis a pass because they didn't do anything. They just following orders. But for some reason, we've been sufficiently brainwashed into thinking that we have to make exceptions for Muslims. Well, first of all, let's take a look at the article, then we'll put it in context. The article says that the Irish people are among the most sympathetic to Syrians. The International Rescue Committee IRC study into public sympathies towards Syrian refugees published today shows that 9 out of 10 respondents in Ireland, 87%, actually that's 8.7 out of 10, but I know what they mean, they're rounding up, express some degree of sympathy towards Syrian refugees arriving here. Now, I don't know what some degree means. I mean, I suppose to some degree I would have sympathy for them. I just don't want them to come into my country because if you have a handful of Skittles and 2 of them contain cyanide, you have to reject all of them until you figure out which 2 have cyanide. And until you can do that, you can't eat any of them. Ireland was, that comes from Donald Trump Jr., by the way. Ireland was followed by Spain, 86%, Germany, 84%, and Portugal, 84%. And he goes on and he says, there is a clear call for governments to combine compassion with competence in responding to the refugee crisis. And I see no problem with that statement, except I'm wondering what they mean by competence. To me, competence means you don't let them in the country. The research shows that 39% of Irish people voiced concern about refugees placing pressure on the state's welfare system, while 36% worried that refugees would put pressure on public services like education, health, and housing. Then it concludes, and by the way, those numbers to me are extremely low. That tells me that there is some kind of apparatus existing in Ireland where people are just simply not getting the information. Because the Irish people are not stupid. So they have to be, I hate to use the term ignorant because it sounds derogatory, but I mean it in the sense that they're unaware. They simply don't know what's going on. Or rather than saying ignorant, I should use the term uninformed, would be a politer term. This study said, 27% of Irish people surveyed said it would cost the government too much money to take care of refugees fleeing the conflict in Syria. So then they published a map where, the most compassionate people are, according to them. I'll put a link to this in the description section below so you can read it in context in its entirety whenever you want. Okay, let's go back to this picture here. Let's take a look at these folks and ask yourself the question. I call them folks. I doubt they refer to themselves as folks. But let me ask you this question. Why are these people fleeing their homeland and coming to Ireland or wherever it is they're going? Why? What is it about us being Western white majority countries that everybody wants to live with us? Why is it that people aren't fleeing white racism to go to majority black countries or majority Muslim countries or majority Latino countries? Or to be politically correct, Latinx countries. Latinx means they don't have a gender. It's a cultural Marxist term. Language loading term. Why are they not fleeing us, our racism, and going there? The reason is this, and I've said this probably 100 million times, so may as well say it one more time. The reason is because if you take a bunch of white people, say a few thousand of them, you plop them down just about any place on the planet, and because they're intelligent and innovative, they're going to create wealth. That's what white people do. They create wealth. And where there is wealth, there is an attraction. It's kind of like honey attracting bees, I suppose. And who can blame them? Well, the problem is they're unable to create wealth, at least to the same level as white people. So how are they going to get the wealth? Well, they have to come take it from the white people. I'm sorry, is that not politically correct? I don't care. All right, so the problem is that we are welcoming non-white people into white majority countries, not vice versa. How do you know it's not vice versa? Well, let's go over to Sean Hannity's program. I actually played this video earlier in a different presentation, but it turns out that I forgot to turn the volume on. So let's listen to what this guy has to say. This is a retired Marine. He's talking about Donald Trump's traveling ban. Does he have a ban? Travel ban. And something that the people of Ireland, remember I said they're uninformed? Well, if you're from Ireland, listen to this because you are about to be informed.
I asked a simple question, and I got an answer to that simple question, and I got it without hesitation. My simple question was, as an American, if I went out in town right now, would I be welcome? And they instantly said, absolutely not, you would not be welcome. And I said, okay, so what would happen if I went out in town? And they said, the locals would snatch me up and kill me within an hour. I'd be tortured first, and after they were done torturing me, I'd probably be beheaded. It would, go on video for everybody to see as, an example. The point I'm trying to make is, this is the local populace that would do this. This isn't ISIS. This isn't Al-Qaeda. This isn't the PMU. This isn't a militia from the Iranians or anything like that. This is the local populace that would do.
Okay, this is the local populace that would do this. Does that sound like empathetic people to you? Okay, let's go back to Ireland. What did it say? 87% express some degree of sympathy. Spain, 86%. Germany, 84%. Portugal, 84%. In Iraq, sympathy toward us, 0%. Folks, that is the difference between white people and everybody else. Some people call this pathological altruism. That is to say, we're just simply too nice. What to do about it? Well, I'm not sure what we can do about it, but to change that innate genetic predisposition for being nice, even to the point of our own destruction, I'm not sure you can change that. But what we can do is what I'm doing right now, and what this guy just did. This, by the way, is on Sean Hannity show, not Shanity, Sean Hannity show. And I'll put the link to this. You can hear this. This is a 6-minute video. You can listen to the whole thing. But the point that I was making is we are empathetic to a fault, and that fault is our own destruction. Okay, what happens when we're gone? Well, this group of people, white people, who have this serious problem with empathy and altruism, are going to be gone. Then what happens? Then where the Syrians and the Iraqis and the Somalis and the Nigerians and the Yemenis, where are they going to go when we are gone?
How to subscribe. Click subscribe. Click the bell. Check the box. Save.